Rude people are not scared of your anger. They are not scared of your tears. They are not even scared when you yell. There is only one thing that makes a rude person freeze on the spot, and it is so small, so quiet, that most people walk right past it their whole life without ever using it. It is not a comeback. It is not a clever line. It is not the perfect thing to say that you rehearse in the shower at midnight. It is the moment you stop reacting. That's it. That's the whole secret. And by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly how to use it, exactly why it works, and exactly what happens inside a rude person's head the second you do it. Stay with me, because once you see this, you will never let a rude person get under your skin the same way again. I learned this by accident. I used to think the way to deal with a rude person was to match them, say something sharp back, show them I was not weak, prove a point. So I clapped back, I got loud, I said the smart thing at the smart moment, and you know what happened? Nothing got better. It got worse. The rude person just got louder too, like I had poured gas on a fire and called it self-respect. That was the moment everything clicked for me. Rude people are not looking for a fair fight. They are looking for a reaction, and the second you give them one, you hand them exactly what they wanted. So today, I'm breaking this down for you, piece by piece. The one boundary, the no reaction boundary. Here is what it means. You stop giving your face, your voice, and your energy away for free. You stop letting a rude comment decide how your next 5 minutes go. You stay calm, not because you don't feel it, but because you refuse to hand them the show they are hoping for. Most people think staying calm makes you look weak. It's the opposite. Staying calm is the loudest thing you can do in a room. It says, "You don't run me," and rude people cannot stand that. Let me paint you a picture. You're in a meeting, you share an idea, someone cuts you off and says, "That's actually a bad idea, but go on." A little laugh from a couple people, heat rises in your chest. Your first instinct is to defend it, to explain, to prove you're not stupid. Or picture this. You're at a family dinner. Someone makes a joke about your weight, your job, your relationship, dressed up as just teasing. Everyone chuckles. You feel your whole body tighten. You want to say something. You want them to know that hurt. Or maybe it's a stranger. Someone cuts you off in traffic, then flips you off like you did something wrong. Your hand is already reaching for the horn. In every single one of these moments, there is a fork in the road. One path, you react. You explain, you defend, you snap back, you honk, you laugh it off nervously to hide how much it stung. The other path, you do none of that. You just don't feed it. Here's what's actually happening when a rude person hits you with a comment like that. They are running a test. Not on purpose, most of the time not even consciously, but it is a test. Will this person flinch? Will they get defensive? Will they entertain me? And when you flinch, even a little, you just told them the test worked. You just told them your calm can be bought cheap, for the price of one rude sentence. This is the part nobody explains to you. Rude people don't actually care if you agree with them, they care if you react to them. The reaction is the whole prize. Your embarrassment, your anger, your scramble to defend yourself, that is the entertainment. That is the power trip. Whether you say something smart back, or something dumb back, barely matters to them. What matters is that you moved. So what do you do instead? You give them nothing to hold on to. No big speech. No comeback. Just stillness. Picture the meeting again. Someone cuts you off with, "That's a bad idea, but go on." Instead of defending it, instead of laughing along, you just look at them for 1 second longer than feels comfortable. Then you say, calmly, "I'll finish my thought." And you finish it. No shake in your voice. No apology in your tone. That's it. That's the whole move. Notice what you didn't do. You didn't insult them back. You didn't explain why your idea was actually good. You didn't beg the room to take you seriously. You just kept walking forward like their rudeness was a pebble on the sidewalk, not a wall in your way. Now here's the part most people miss completely. After the meeting, the old version of you would replay that moment for the rest of the day. You'd think of 10 better comebacks in the shower that night. You'd rehearse what you should have said, over and over, until it ate up hours of your headspace for free. The new version of you barely remembers it happened. Not because you're pretending, but because you didn't feed it enough energy in the moment for it to turn into a whole storyline in your head later. That's the quiet bonus nobody talks about. Less reaction now means less replaying later. Here's why this wrecks a rude person's whole plan. Rudeness needs an audience that plays along. It needs you to get small, or get loud, or get defensive. The second you do neither, the rude comment just lands on the floor. Nobody picks it up. And a joke that nobody laughs at, a jab that nobody flinches at, dies right there in the room. This is the psychology behind it. Most rude behavior is not really about you, it's about control. A rude person often feels small somewhere in their own life, and putting someone else off balance, even for a second, gives them a little hit of power. It's like a tiny addiction. They poke, they wait for the flinch, they feel bigger. When you don't flinch, you're not just protecting yourself, you're starving the exact thing that made them do it in the first place. Think about it like this. Imagine rudeness as a little machine that only runs on one kind of fuel, your visible reaction. No fuel, no motion. It doesn't matter how sharp the comment was, how personal it got, how many people were watching. If nothing comes back out of you, the machine just sits there, engine running, going nowhere. Most rude people don't even realize this is what's happening. They just notice, somewhere in the back of their mind, that poking you stopped being satisfying, and people, even rude ones, generally stop doing things that stop being satisfying. This is also why rude people often save their worst behavior for the people closest to them, the people most likely to react. They're not stupid. Somewhere, even if they'd never admit it, they know a stranger might just walk away and never think about them again. But a partner, a sibling, a close friend, someone who loves them, is far more likely to stay in the conversation, defend themselves, try to fix it, try to be understood. That reaction is the real target. Once you stop offering it, even to people you love, you'll notice the rudeness starts aiming somewhere else, or it stops altogether. Let's go back to the family dinner. The joke about your weight, dressed up as teasing. Old you might laugh it off nervously, or snap, "Wow, okay, that's mean," and now you're the one who can't take a joke. New you does something different. You let a small silence sit there, just a beat. Then you say, calm and flat, "That's not something I laugh at." No yelling, no storming off. No long lecture about respect. Just one flat sentence, and then you go back to eating like nothing happened. Watch what that does. It doesn't give the room a fight to watch. It doesn't give the rude person ammunition to say you overreacted. It just quietly closes the door on that joke ever landing again. Not with fireworks, with a flat, calm click. And here's the part that surprises people the most. The silence afterward is doing just as much work as the sentence itself. Rude people are used to filling the space after their comment with your embarrassment, your laughter, your scrambling. When that space just stays quiet instead, it feels strange to them, uncomfortable even, because for once, they don't know what you're thinking, and not knowing is uncomfortable for people who are used to controlling the room. Let it be uncomfortable. That discomfort is not a mistake you need to fix. It is the boundary doing its job. Let's try one more scene, because I want this to really sink in. A coworker sends you a message that's dripping with attitude, something like, "Must be nice to leave early, while the rest of us handle everything." No name calling, nothing you could screenshot and report, just enough edge to make your stomach drop when you read it. Old you might type out a whole paragraph defending your schedule, explaining you had an appointment, explaining you always pull your weight, explaining. You'd hit send, then sit there refreshing your phone, waiting to see if they replied, if they believed you, if they were still mad. New you reads it once, feels the little sting, and then types back something short and boring, like noted, or nothing at all. You close the app. You go back to your day. No paragraph, no proof, no performance. Here's the thing that stings for the rude coworker. A long defensive reply tells them their jab worked. A short, flat non-reaction, or no reaction at all, tells them it didn't even register enough to be worth your time. That is a much harder thing for a rude person to sit with than an angry reply. Angry replies feel like a win to them. Being ignored feels like losing. Now the traffic example. Someone cuts you off, flips you off for no reason. Your hand hovers over the horn. Here's the thing. That person is a stranger. You will never see them again. They already got what they wanted the moment your hand moved toward that horn, the moment your heart rate spiked, the moment your whole mood for the next 20 minutes got hijacked by someone you'll never meet again in your life. The no-reaction boundary here isn't even about them. It's about you refusing to rent out your mood to a stranger for free. You take a breath, you keep driving, and 5 minutes later, you don't even remember their face. That's the real prize. Not winning some invisible showdown, getting your peace back faster. Here's something important though, and I want to be really clear about this. Staying calm does not mean staying silent forever. It does not mean swallowing everything and never speaking up. There's a difference between no reaction and no boundary. You can still say the sentence, "I'll finish my thought." That's not something I laugh at. That's rude. Short, flat, clear. What you're cutting out is the extra 10 sentences after it. The explaining, the proving, the performing, the part where you turn one rude comment into a whole debate about your worth. Because here's what happens when you over-explain to a rude person. Every extra sentence becomes something for them to grab onto. If you say that hurt my feelings, They say you're too sensitive. If you say, I was just trying to help, they say, well, you didn't help. If you defend the idea for 5 more minutes, they find 5 more ways to poke holes in it. The longer you talk, the more rope you hand them. Silence gives them nothing to grab. A short, calm sentence gives them nothing to grab. That is the whole trick. Let's talk about what happens after you start doing this. In the beginning, it will feel weird. You'll want to explain. You'll want to fix the moment. You'll want to make sure everyone in the room still likes you. That urge is normal. It's just an old habit talking, the habit of being the peacekeeper, the explainer, the one who smooths things over so nobody's mad. Let that urge sit there without obeying it. Count in your head if you have to. 1, 2, 3. Then just keep going with your day. Something interesting happens the more you practice this. Rude people either back off because poking you stopped being fun, or they get louder for a little while, almost like they're trying harder to get the old reaction out of you. That's actually a good sign. It means the old trick stopped working, and they're scrambling for a new one. Stay calm through that too. It won't last long, because eventually they'll find someone else who still reacts. Rude people move on to easier targets. Don't be the easy target anymore. And here's the biggest shift of all, the one nobody tells you about. Every time you don't react to a rude comment, you're not just handling them better. You're training your own brain. You're teaching yourself, quietly, again and again, that a rude person's opinion does not get to run your nervous system, that their comment is information about them, not a verdict about you. That's the real win, not the clever comeback, not the perfect flat sentence, even though that helps. The real win is that a rude comment stops being able to ruin your whole day. It becomes small, it becomes forgettable, it becomes something that happened instead of something that happens to you over and over in your head for the rest of the night. So let's bring this all the way back. What is the one boundary rude people can never handle? It's simple. It's you. Staying calm, staying short, and refusing to hand them a reaction. Not cold, not fake nice, not pretending it didn't bother you at all. Just steady, just short, just unbothered on purpose. If you want the simplest version to remember, here it is. When someone is rude to you, pick one flat sentence. That's not okay. I'll finish my thought. That's rude. Say it once. Calm, no shaking. Then stop talking. Let the silence do the rest. Because here's the real truth under all of this. Rude people don't push because they misunderstand you. They push because pushing usually works. It usually gets a reaction. It usually gets them a little bit of power over your mood. The no reaction boundary is the one move that quietly takes that power back, without a single fight, without a single raised voice. Their rudeness says everything about the mood they're carrying around inside them. It says nothing about you. Once you really believe that, the sting starts to fade a lot faster. Try this one thing this week. Just one rude comment. From anyone, anywhere. A coworker, a stranger, a family member. Instead of reacting, just breathe. Say your one flat sentence if you need to, and move on with your day like it barely touched you. Notice how different it feels by dinner time. If this helped you see rude people a little differently, hit subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and it costs you nothing but one click. You don't owe a rude person your reaction. You never did.